The union between Myra of the Celestian court and the human called Leon began as a decision of politics rather than emotion. The Celestian Empire had extended its influence across more than 100 star systems, and turmoil brewed at the far edges where old rivalries refused to die down. Myra was not only a princess, but also a strategic leader in training. Her marriage to a human warrior from Earth was meant to strengthen interstellar trust and show that Celestians were not afraid to bind their destiny with that of the rising human race. Leon arrived on the gleaming homeworld wearing plain armor, carrying only a single blade at his waist, and speaking with the calm of a man who expected nothing beyond simple duty. The court had been unimpressed. Celestians valued radiant armor and psionic marks, yet Leon had neither. He moved with quiet purpose, as if weighed down by memories no one could read. Rumors spread quickly across the palace that Myra had been paired with a dull soldier who would add little value to her future rule. Myra had defended him with polite words, but even she wondered about the depth hidden behind his calm eyes. Leon, however, never complained. When ambassadors gathered, he stood behind Myra with respectful silence. When the court performed their elaborate rituals, he observed without ridicule. His presence became something like a whisper through the vast palace halls. Always there, never loud, never proud. The Celestian courtiers began to overlook him entirely. Some dismissed him. Others openly doubted his worth. None of them foresaw the moment when everything would shift around the quiet human and reveal a strength that had been waiting in silence. Myra tried to bridge the gap between them. She listened to his thoughts about Earth, about the difficult training he had endured, and about the harsh conflicts he had survived. His stories were never told with bravado. He described battles the way one might describe storms. He saw the galaxy with simple honesty, free of the arrogance that many celestial nobles carried. Myra found herself drawn to that quiet steadiness. Though theirs had been a union of diplomacy, it slowly grew into something warmer, but the court continued judging him. They whispered that the princess had married a man who would never achieve greatness. They claimed the human was content to remain a shadow at her side. Some even proposed that Myra should request an annulment and seek a more worthy mate. Leon heard the whispers, but answered none. Myra saw the silent hurt he kept hidden beneath stillness, and her loyalty to him deepened. Tension grew when a fractured faction known as the Gaul Dominion broke through the outer defenses of the Celestian border. Their warlord, an ambitious rival seeking ancient artifacts stored within Celestian space, launched raids against several colonies. The court called upon all available warriors to join the defense. Myra prepared to travel to the command fortress in orbit. Standing beside her, Leon fastened the simple blade at his side. The courtiers watched from the steps with visible disapproval. One of them spoke openly. He questioned why the princess would bring a silent human to a battlefield when Celestian soldiers possessed far greater abilities. Myra felt anger rise within her, but before she could answer, Leon bowed politely and continued following her. His refusal to argue only strengthened the courtiers' contempt. When their shuttle departed, Myra looked at Leon with frustration mixed with admiration. He did not seek validation. He did not chase attention. Yet she knew there was something hidden inside him. A quiet human could not hold himself with such stillness unless he had stood at the edge of something unbearable. She resolved to understand his past more fully, but the war arrived before she could dot at the fortress. Commanders briefed them on the situation. Several Celestian outposts had already fallen. Patterns in the attacks suggested that the Gaul Dominion sought a relic called the Luminar Core, an ancient power source said to amplify the strength of whoever possessed it. The court kept it hidden in a vault below the capital. If the Dominion reached it, the entire empire would fall into chaos. Myra immediately volunteered to help lead a defensive force at the outer ring. Leon remained beside her. Commanders, though skeptical, allowed him to join. During the planning stage, Leon said little, but Myra noticed something different in his eyes. The calm was still there, but behind it flickered an intensity she had never seen. She wondered if he sensed a looming threat that others could not. Their fleet launched into the contested zone. What awaited them was worse than expected. The Dominion had summoned colossal war machines powered by dark energy, machines capable of crushing fortified colonies with ease. Mira led her squadron through narrow corridors of battle, directing her ships with strategic precision. Leon accompanied her into the ground engagements where soldiers fought in the ruins of war, shattered outposts. Throughout the battlefield, Celestian warriors unleashed bursts of psionic force. The Dominion answered with destructive beams. Amid the chaos, Leon fought quietly with his sword still sheathed. He only drew it to parry incoming strikes. Mira asked him why he refused to unleash its full strength. Leon replied with a simple truth. His blade, he said, was not meant to be unsheathed without purpose. It was a weapon built for a moment of absolute necessity. That moment, he insisted, had not yet arrived. The Celestian soldiers found his restraint baffling. Some mistook it for cowardice. Yet Myra saw that Leon defeated opponents with graceful precision, never wasting movement, never overreaching. His quiet determination bolstered the morale of those around him. Still, the war escalated. The Dominion pressed harder, and the Celestian defenses began to buckle. Then the unthinkable occurred. The Dominion forced an opening in the frontier and launched a direct strike toward the capital. Their warlord commanded a giant vessel shaped like a burning spear. It cut through the Celestian fleet with brutal efficiency. On the ground, shockwaves rippled across cities. The vault containing the luminar core fell under siege. If the warlord claimed the relic, he would wield power capable of extinguishing entire worlds. Mira and Leon raced toward the vault along with the small squad. They encountered wave after wave of Dominion soldiers. The air trembled as psionic barriers shattered around them. Celestian defenders fell one after another. Myra fought fiercely, her energy staff blazing through enemy formations. Leon stood protectively behind her, shielding her with movements so swift they became blurs. But as they neared the vault, the Dominion unleashed a monstrous war machine infused with dark energy. Its colossal form towered above them. Each step shook the ground. Soldiers scattered. The machine unleashed a beam that carved a crater through the palace walls. Myra shouted for her squad to fall back, but the machine pressed forward. A sudden blow flung Mira across the hall. Her armor cracked. Pain surged through her. She saw the machine turn its glowing eye toward Leon. In that instant, Leon finally understood that the moment he had been waiting for had arrived. He touched the hilt of his sword. The air grew still. Mira, struggling to stand, witnessed a transformation in him. The quiet human who had stood unnoticed in the court now exuded an aura of extraordinary focus. The calmness that once made him invisible turned into something terrifying. Leon unsheathed his sword. A flash of brilliant light filled the hall. The blade shimmered with a radiance not of metal, but of ancient human craftsmanship combined with energy Myra had never seen. The machine roared and charged. Leon moved forward with steps that seemed to blur through space. Each strike of his sword carved through the dark energy that fueled the machine. The Dominion soldiers froze in fear. They had never seen such force. Mira watched in awe. Leon's movements were precise and fluid. He struck the machine's joints, severed its core, and released a shockwave that collapsed its frame. The machine crashed to the ground in a cloud of smoke. Silence followed, filled only by the echo of what had just occurred. The surviving Dominion soldiers retreated. Myra approached Leon with disbelief and admiration. She asked why he had hidden such ability. Leon answered in his calm voice. Humans, he said, had learned to keep their greatest strengths quiet because history had shown that loud power often brought destruction. He had chosen silence until the galaxy needed his true skill. Their squad reached the vault. They found the warlord inside, attempting to break the final seal around the luminar core. Leon stepped forward, sword still glowing. The warlord mocked him, calling him a silent human unworthy of challenge. Leon said nothing. He charged with a force so overwhelming that the warlord's dark blades shattered upon contact. Their battle echoed across the chamber. Mira added her strength, striking with psionic bursts that disoriented the warlord. Together, they pushed him back until Leon delivered a final blow. The warlord fell. Defeated Dot with the Dominion command collapsed. Their fleet withdrew. The Celestian Empire regained control of the border. Word of the battle spread rapidly. Stories of the quiet human who had unsheathed his sword and changed the course of the war reached every corner of the court. The nobles who once dismissed him now regarded him with astonishment. Mira stood beside Leon during the victory gathering. The court bowed respectfully. For the first time, they recognized his worth. But for Mira, the greatest moment came later, when they returned to the quiet balcony overlooking the capital. She thanked Leon for saving her, saving the Empire, and revealing a truth she could never have understood.